Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh glory to the assembled devotees, oh glory to the assembled devotees, oh glory to the assembled devotees, oh glory to Shishi Guru and Shigoranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 68, The Marriage of Samba, text number 1 and number 2. Text number 1. Sri Sukha Uvacha Duryodhana Shutam Rajam Lakshmanam Samitinjaya Swayambharastan Aharat Shambhojam Bhavati Shuta. Sri Sukha Uvacha Duryodhana Shutam Rajam Lakshmanam Samitinjaya Swayambharastan Ahara Sambhojam Bhavati Sutta. Sri Sukha Uvacha Duryodhana Shutam Rajam Lakshmanam Samitinjaya Swayambharastam Ahara Shambhojam Bhavati Sutta. Please read. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Sukadev Goswami said, Duryodhana Shutam, the daughter of Duryodhana, Rajam, O King Parikshit, Lakshmanam, named Lakshmana, Samitin Jaya, victorious in battle, Swayambara, in her Swayambara ceremony, Stham, situated, Aharat, stole, Sambaha, Samba, Jambavati Shuta, the son of Jambavati. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sukadev Goswami says, O King, Jambavati's son Samba, ever victorious in battle, kidnapped Duryodhana's daughter Lakshmana from her Swayambara ceremony. Purport. In Krishna, Srila Prabhupada explained these events as follows, quote, Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, had a marriageable daughter by the name Lakshmana. She was a very highly qualified girl of the Kuru dynasty, and many princes wanted to marry her. In such cases, the Swayambara ceremony is held so that the girl may select her husband according to her own choice. In Lakshmana's Swayambara assembly, when the girl was to select her husband, Samba appeared. He was the son of Krishna by Jambavati, one of the chief wives of the Lord. The son, Samba, is so named because, being a very bad child, he was always lived close to his mother. He always lived close to his mother. The name Shamba indicates that this son was very much his mother's pet. Amba means mother, and Sa means with. So this special name was given to him because he was always remained with his mother. He was also known as Jambavati Sutta for the same reason. As previously explained, all the sons of Krishna were as qualified as their great father, Lord Krishna. Samba wanted the daughter of Duryodhana, Lakshmana, although she was not inclined to have him. Therefore, Samba kidnapped Lakshmana by force from the Swayambara ceremony. Text number 2. Kaurava kopita uchur durvinito janarbaka kadarti krityana kanyam akaman aharat balat. Translation. The angry Kurus say, this ill-behaved boy has offended us, forcibly kidnapping our unmarried daughter against her will. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapada Swami Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyadeshatayine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I'm going to read the chapter summary that is given by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, Prabhupada's disciples. This chapter describes how the Kauravas captured Samba and how Lord Baladev dragged the city of Hastinapura to secure his release. Samba, the darling son of Jambavati, kidnapped Duryodhana's daughter Lakshmana from her Swayamvara assembly. In response, the Kauravas joined forces to arrest him, as their Samba held them off single-handedly for some time. 6 warriors of the Kaurava party deprived him of his chariot, broke his bow to pieces, seized him and tied him up, and brought both him and Lakshmana back to Hastinapura. When King Ugrasena heard of Samba's capture, he called upon the Yadavas to retaliate. Anger, they prepared to fight, but Lord Balaram pacified them, hoping to avoid a quarrel between the Kuru and the Yadu dynasties. The Lord set off for Hastinapura together with several Brahmanas and Yadava elders. The party of Yadavas set up camp in the garden outside the city, and Lord Balaram sent Uddhava to ascertain King Dhritarashtra's frame of mind. When Uddhava appeared in the Kaurava court and announced Lord Balaram's arrival, the Kauravas worshipped Uddhava and then went to see the Lord, taking auspicious items to offer him. The Kauravas honored Balaram with rituals and items of respect. But when he conveyed Ugrasena's demand that they release Samba, they became angry. Quote, "It is very amazing," they said, "that the Yadavas are trying to give order to the Kauravas. This is like a Jew trying to climb atop of one's head. It is from us alone that the Yadavas have obtained the royal thrones, and yet now they're presuming themselves our equals. No longer will we extend to them royal privileges." End of quote. Having said this, the Kaurava nobles went inside their city, and Lord Baladev decided that the only way to deal with those who are maddened by their false prestige is through brute punishment. Thus he took his plow, weapon, and, intending to rid the earth of all the Kurus, began dragging Hastinapura towards the Ganges. Seeing that the city was in imminent danger of falling into the river, the terrified Kauravas quickly brought Samba and Lakshman before Lord Balaram and began to glorify him. Then they pray, quote, "O Lord, please forgive us who were so ignorant of your true identity." End of quote. Baladev assured the Kauravas he will not harm them, and Duryodhana presented various wedding gifts to his daughter and new son-in-law. Then Duryodhana, extending his greetings to the Yadavas, requested Lord Baladev to return to Dwarka with Shamba and Lakshmana. So, within the context of the pastimes of Shamba, the son of Lord Krishna and one of the main wives in Dwarka, Jambavati, we continue hearing the glories of Lord Baladev and his extraordinary powers. We've been listening for the few chapters about the wonderful glories of Lord Balaram. And this one is completely extraordinary. We have heard the use of Lord Balaram's plow that is quite an unusual type of weapon, because a plow is used for farming. You don't associate a plow with a war weapon. You know, there's the club, mace, and there's bow and arrows, There's lances, swords, all these type of weapons. And some of, most of them, especially for these great warriors, Maharatas, they also are able to put on those weapons, celestial powers. So they're able to create all kinds of, powerful results, like even an atomic, bomb type of result. But a plow, you know, how? But we see how Lord Balaram uses this. This is the second time he uses his plow to drag something. And in general, that's how you use the plow. You put it in the earth and then, drag it and till the ground, like that. We just heard, in the previous chapter, how he dragged with the plow Jamuna Devi to obey his commands, and he was upset because she disobeyed him. And we see in this over and over and over that somehow or other Lord Balaram is being disregarded in one pastime, another pastime, another pastime. He's the supreme personality of Godhead with inconceivable powers. The name Balaram, the, you know, gives this type of understanding. Bala means strength. So he's a strength personified. And yet, he's constantly been in these pastimes that narrate his glories. There is a common thing that happened is that he's been disregarded. It's quite something that in the presence of inconceivable power, you still disregard. I mean, and then you can understand the covering power of material illusion, of Maya. Because only by Maya you're not able to see. Even something as powerful as the personality of Godhead right in front of you. In the case of Jamuna Devi, she saw Lord Balaram, and one of the things is that causes this disregard on the personality of Godhead is because he is performing human-like activities. And he has manifested a human form. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita also among the many fools that disregard him because, there is such thing. Because he have descended in his human form and perform human-like activities. So then fools derive me. Krishna saying, Manushanan Sahas. No, what is it? How? What is the verse? I got a blank. But in the 9th chapter, Krishna says that fools derive me when they see me in my human form. They don't understand that I'm the supreme personality of Godhead, the controller and the source of everything. They don't understand that. And therefore they derive me. So you see the personality of Godhead performing these human-like activities in the case of Lord Balaram and Jamuna Devi. She observes the Lord enjoying in the company of his gopis, and he appeared to be intoxicated. And an intoxicated, in the material world, someone that is intoxicated is uh, is something that is to be disregarded. Is someone who um, is not in control of his uh, capacity to discern or to make proper choices. And in general, they just a nuisance. A drunken person is someone who have to be rejected. So Yamuna is seeing that, and that external display, she just see that and is not able to see the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never touched by anything of the modes of nature, not even goodness, what to speak of ignorance. He is pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva. That's the nature of the personality of God to descend in his own spiritual form to perform these activities. So, how does that happen? It happens because of the courting of Maya. Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita, that for those fools, unfaithful, and well, we're talking here about Jamuna. She's not a fool, she's not unfaithful, she's, a pure devotee of the Lord. But when a pure devotee is not able to see, is because that is induced by the Lord to teach us conditioned souls, to understand how powerful the illusory energy of the Lord is. That even, if you're such a highly elevated person, even for devotees, you can be covered if you're not careful. We remember the instance in which Srila Prabhupada is taking darshan of the deities, and as he's taking darshan, he's offering some prayers, personal prayers. And his servant, I believe was His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami, was next to him. And he asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I heard when you were taking darshan, you were praying to Lord Krishna. Would you mind sharing what you were praying? And Prabhupada say, I'm praying that I'm always protected from Maya. And then Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, but Prabhupada, you're never touched by Maya. You're a pure devotee. How's? And then Prabhupada say, the reason I'm never touched by Maya is because I pray to Krishna to never allow Maya to touch me. So Prabhupada is teaching that even in those positions, one is always very respectful and mindful that this is extremely powerful. Mayadi Akshena Prakriti, that is the energy of the Lord, and it's meant to cover. It's meant to cover. It's very difficult to overcome. Duratyaya, Krishna explains. So, even the devotees can be covered what to speak of persons who are not devoted to Krishna. So we see that Jamuna, then Lord Balaram established, show his powers, and use his plow in this. That's how you say plow, no, plow. Plow. Dragged her. Then we see Odwevida, the monkey, the gorilla, insulting Lord Balaram in the most gross way. Lord Balaram uses plow again. As gorilla was jumping around, he just stand his plow, grab him, and then with his club, baboom, just hit him right in the head. So, and then now we see this. We're going to hear about this narration, how he's dragging a whole city. Now, just picture that. Extraordinary. Actually, there's a painting in the BBT of that instance of Lord Balaram dragging the city. So it is plain that it was like, this devastating earthquake was happening. And then people realize that the city is moving towards the Ganges to be completely destroyed. That's the power of Lord Balaram. So, and you see how powerful it is that even after all these things, even after Krishna showing his prowess of eliminating one powerful demon after one powerful demon, Lord Balaram showing powers. I mean, there is no hidden thing here of the capacities and the power of Krishna and Balaram in their pastimes. And still, the battlefield of Kurukshetra have to happen because they're still deriding. They still go ahead and deride. If Lord Balaram, we see here that in the overview of the chapter, that the Kurus will come and after, completely humbled and afraid, they surrendered to Lord Balaram and apologize for not being able to recognize his own identity. So there's a moment of lucidity, how you say? Lucidity that you can see, and then bang, you get covered again. It's just quite something. Because, we're just, we're not necessarily witnessing. We're hearing about the presence of the Lord, but we're not necessarily witnessing this extraordinary, displays and seeing face to face, or that the Lord is performing his incredible activities, that we can see that. So, it's understandable that conditioned people, we have to go through all these different moments of become covered by Maya. But when you are chastised directly by the personality of Godhead and being able to wake up and see, oh, here is the personality of Godhead. The question is how you forget again. How powerful this is. So this is some of the things that we're going to continue enjoying in the wonderful activities of Lord Balaram, Krishna Balaram, and not only enjoy the wonderful pastimes and the incredible power and feats of the personality of Godhead, but also is a strong lesson for us to to always be very careful, um, that even in those situations, you still, if you don't cultivate the proper regard and this anya vilashita shunyan, type of service, this pure devotional service, if you don't cultivate the mood of favorable, pure devotional service to the Lord, then you will be covered again. Even if you have received the direct mercy of the Lord in the form either of a benediction or in the form of a punishment, you still, if you don't properly cultivate the activities of devotional service, then you will be covered regardless. So here we're hearing about this character, son of Shamba, son of Jambavati and Krishna. So the story of Samba is going to be, is very relevant in Krishna's pastimes. Um, we're gonna hear much later in chapters how Shamba becomes the reason why the Yadus were cursed to basically be destroyed. So Shamba was instrumental in Krishna's arrangement for taking the Yadus out of this world. And the reason is Shamba's character, Prabhupada in the Krishna book say he was a bad son. He was a bad boy. That's what they use. He was a bad boy. So the bad boy thing is that he was very naughty and mischievous. He loved to make pranks and do things, that were mischievous and naughty, like that. Different than Pradumya. Pradumya was the good boy. Pradumya was just perfect. Shamba was problematic. So he's always doing things that were getting into trouble. And one of the reasons that it says in the Mahabharata give a little more detail of the situation with Shamba. One of the reasons he was naughty is because Krishna told him about his past. Krishna will narrate the pastimes of, him as a cowherd boy, as a young boy in Vrindavan, and how mischievous he was, stealing butter and doing all kinds of, naughty things. So Shamba took up to that. So he became, a prankster in one sense. And that's how um, the Yadus were cursed, because he decided to convince some of his brothers and cousins to make this prank to the sages who were gathered in Dwarka. So he dressed as a woman and put a club, attach a club to his belly, so under the sari it looks like a pregnant woman. And then goes to the sages and say, "Oh, great sages, you are great seers of past, present, and future. Please tell us what will be the gender of the child that this princess is waiting, is having." And then the sages were disgusted of the type of disrespect and arrogance, that these boys were trying to, you know. So the sage said the the fruit or the what will come out of that pregnancy is going to be the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. That the very thing that is there, that club, will be the destruction of the Yadus. And indeed, the way it happens also was quite extraordinary. The boys realized, the great mistake that they made, and they caused the sages to curse the whole dynasty. They informed the elders and King Ugrasena, and and then they decided, oh my God, okay, so let's try this. Pulverize, destroy that club, and throw the dust of the pulverized club into the sea. The dust came by the sea waves into the shore, and they sort of combine with some um, grasses that grows by the shore, and the result was that all these tall grasses became iron, and so they were like weapons, so iron rods like that. And those were the one in that very same area the Yadus were celebrating, um, and then they became intoxicated and they killed each other. The only way the Yadus could disappear was that they killed each other, and that's what happened. So that was all caused by Shamba's prank. So he was troublesome. So in this case, we see also that he caused trouble because he decided to um, use this Rakshasa marriage type. The Rakshasa marriage is when the when the man kidnaps a bride by force, and it's not consensual. It's by force. So is in general in general society is condemned, but it's one of the 8 different type of marriages that are accepted within the laws, the laws of man or the laws for mankind, and is acceptable for kshatriyas, for the warriors. In fact, we see here quite something, because the Kurus are tremendously sort of upset about this action by Shamba. How he dare. Because first, Lakshmana, she was not into Shamba, but Shamba forced and took her by force. And they were really unhappy. Anyone would be unhappy. You put yourself in a situation, you know? But among Kshatriyas, it is accepted. In fact, in general, if someone is able to do that feat, because you have to be really powerful, and you have to show such power, because it's not something that you come and okay, come, and do some underground type of kidnapping. When no one is seen, then you kidnap. You just go right, confront the situation, kidnap, and then you have to fight yourself against whatever force comes at you. And for Kshatriyas is, well, if they succeed, that means that this is a very good candidate, because it's a powerful warrior. And Kshatriyas, that's the main quality and qualification that you look for a proper marriage. You want a powerful warrior, a powerful warrior. So in the case we see uh, that Shambadut did that, and then he was defeating not only the kings and the princes who went to try to win Lakshmana, but also the Kuru warriors. I mean, these are Duryodhana, Dushashan, and Bhishma was there, Dronacharya was there, Kripa, all these, powerful. But, the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, these are all Maharathas, powerful. And Shamba was like holding them off. They have to combine their forces to be able to win over him. Some was similar that when the Kurus were fighting um, Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna and Subhadra, they have to combine forces in order to defeat him because he was so powerful. So Shamba was as powerful, so he was defeating them. So he is qualified, and he was a Yadava. He was part of the Yadav dynasty. He was very desirable. You know, in one sense, it was it hit a little bit of the ego. But if you are part of that culture, you should understand. Oh, okay, brave. In fact, all that generation of Kurus who were ruling, there came from an arrangement that was similar. Because during the time of the son of um, the son of Satyavati and what's the name of the father of Lord of Bhishmadev, and also his name was King Santanu. So Satyavati and King Shantanu, they have two sons. One of them died, and the other one, Vichitravidya, he was of marriageable age. Bhishma came and saw that the king of Kashi had three wonderful marriageable girls, princes. And he decided, oh, and they didn't invite, no, Bhishma was talking with Satyavati to decide our boy, our Vichitravirya now should be get married. There is these wonderful girls there, three, that will be perfect for this boy. I'm sure that they will invite us, and then we go, and make this proposal. But the king of Kashi was not favorable to the Kurus, so they neglected to invite. And that in itself was very insulting because everybody, all the great dynasties were invited to the Swayambara of these three girls. Their name was Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. Three girls, three sisters. Bhishma and the Kurus became very upset of this type of disregard and insult, so he decided, okay, you go in by force and pick the triggers. So he went. He just, I mean, Bhishma was the most powerful warrior in the planet, no doubt, hands off at that time. When the powerful Bhishma appeared, then, just simply by the display of power, then he kidnapped the girls. Of the three, um, one, Amba, has already given her heart to this demoniac king. His name was Shalva, who was eventually killed by Krishna. But they choose each other, and they were, during the Swayambara, as explained, the girl would choose. So she was already fixed. I would choose, Shalva. But when she was kidnapped, she was so unhappy. So when she got to the Hastinapura, the three girls, the two sisters, they accepted. I mean, is the most powerful um, dynasty that was at that time, the rulers of the world. So at the end, worked it very good for them, and so they happily accepted. But this one, Amba, she was very unhappy, and she explained to Bhishma that why she was unhappy. She was already given her heart. So Bhishma say, okay, so then let me, send you back to Shalva with a, procession, just like a very honorable procession. And when she came back to Shalva, then Shalva rejected her. You already been touched by someone else. So no, I'm not going to marry you. So then she comes back. He doesn't want to marry me, and I miss the marriage with Vichita Vidya. So now no one wants to marry me. My family just reject me too. So you have to marry me. And Bhishma say, I can't do that. I have made vows not to get married. So she was really unhappy. So she say, you know, she will do whatever austerities it needs to be taken, but he have to marry him. Says, I'm sorry. So she went all the way to the spiritual master of Bhishma to request, plead her case. And Parshuram, Parshuram, the one who killed all the Kshatriyas, 21 generations of Kshatriyas, uh, he was sympathetic to her cause. So he said, yes, he's my disciple. I will tell him to marry you. She was happy. Parshuram tells Bhishma, you must marry this girl. Bhishma say, Guru Maharaj, I'm so sorry, but I cannot follow that order because I have these vows. So he say, Parshuram say, you cannot say no, and if you say no, you will have to fight me. And then Bhishma says, well, I will fight you. And then he was able to fence Parshuram. and Parshuram couldn't defeat Bhishma. And at the end, he was very pleased and he blessed Bhishma. Meanwhile, this girl was even more frustrated because now there was no way. So she now decided that she will destroy Bhishma because Bhishma destroyed her life and she will be the cause of the destruction of Bhishma. And she performed austerities. She gained, a boon to be the cause of Bhishma's death. And she took birth as a princess that then a princess is a female, no? That then did, we can say, is like a transgender type of thing. She became, a kshatriya, and it was, like she almost looked like a man, but it was a female. And what was her name? I can't remember. I can't remember the name. But anyway, she caused the death. So, telling all this story is that the Kurus, Duryodhana's grandmother, has been kidnapped. So, Duryodhana's grandmother, the mother of uh, the mother of Dhritarashtra, was Ambika. And the reason Dhritarashtra was blind was because Ambika closed her eyes while, conceiving. And, Dhritarashtra was blind. There's a whole story, but, we're going to skip that one. But the point is that Swayam, this Rakshasa marriage, this type of marriage was present in their dynasty, very, very close to that. But they still, just out of pride, couldn't also see, oh, okay, let us analyze the situation. Okay, very, disruptive, but it's part of the culture. And in one sense, the girl is going to be married to the Yadu dynasty and is the son of Krishna. And for Duryodhana, Lord Balaram was like his spiritual master. Lord Balaram has an affection for for Duryodhana. He learned the art of war from Lord Balaram, especially with the mace. And okay, it's all good. But out of pride, and that's the thing that is a consistent theme of why you cannot see. It's consistent. It's pride. And we see how they insult Lord Balaram at one point. And it is so funny, I finish with this, that you make the display of, respect, acceptance. They come and offer Balaram's gift and worship. It is said that they worship. And then when Lord Balaram said, here's our request, please free the boy and send him back to, with his bride, with honor to 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 Dwarka. And then it comes out. The pride takes over. And the words were very harsh. You're like a shoot trying to climb to the head, basically. How you consider equals, which is, it's a consistent theme, you know. How you gonna, you know, I'm superior like that. So, so I'm pointing the picture of how we're gonna, you know, enter into this, listening to these wonderful pastimes, and you know, to be able to see how all these things um, take place. You know, the the display of power of Lord Balaram chastising and curbing the pride of this whole dynasty of the Kurus. So the extraordinary powers of Lord Balaram that don't dare to disrespect Lord Balaram or disregard him. The, you know, the situation also of Shamba and you know, performing this rakshasa kidnapping marriage type of thing, and how even when they so closely related to how the present ruling party or the ruling um, um, part of the Kurus, how they were also a product of that, and they're still not able to recognize. So, can conclude here. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, thank you for the lecture, Srila Prabhu. Uh, I have a question. You said that Srila Prabhupada prayed to Krishna that Maya um, don't touch him, don't affect on him, and I wanted to ask how to pray. How did he pray? Because like I heard, like when you chant Hare Krishna, you need to try to not think about anything, like to focus on the name. But if you praying, it's just like separate praise, or Maya doesn't touch me, or it's including when we chant Hare Krishna, Maya understands to not touch us. So how should Prabhupada praise, especially to Maya, to not touch him?
Yeah, that particular time Prabhupada was praying as taking darshan, which is usually something that we do when we come in front of the deities. Um, we can offer prayers. One of the things with prayers is one of the 9 processes of the devotional service. It's called vandana, vandana, and the perfection, the personalities who there is a particular devotee who is like the poster devotee for each one of the 9 processes. The process of vandana is exemplified um, by Prahlad Maharaj. And Prabhupada instruct that if we want to, it's important, you know, to pray with one's heart to the deities. And one of the things that can help for us to understand how to pray is to read the prayers of these great devotees that are through the Bhagavatam. So the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, the prayers of Queen Kunti, the prayers of so many of the devotees throughout the Bhagavatam. There's devotees offering prayers. And Lord Brahma's famous prayers in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto, famous prayers. So many of those wonderful prayers of Lord Brahma to Krishna, specifically those one are very um, very relevant for us because is how to come to Krishna as the one find oneself in a situation that you have disregarded Krishna in some way. So Lord Brahma is offering these beautiful prayers. So, we absorb ourselves and learn and trying to follow in the footsteps of these great devotees on how to pray. So that's one way that we learn. And of course, it's also recommended and we've been guided to also pray, from our heart. And we can use an own voice to pray to the Lord. Another thing that is being told is that we have to be careful what we pray for because the Lord will be inclined to fulfill prayers. So it's not recommended that we come to the Lord and pray for material things. Although it's something that is in a lower level, is say, just do that. If you have material, if you have all desires, if you have no material desires, or if you have desires for liberation, whatever desire you have, or if you have no desire, you do it, come to Krishna, and you offer that to Krishna. So sakama, sarvakama, akama, eh, moksha kama, udaradi. Trivrena bhakti yogena. You offer devotion and prayers to Krishna for that. You engage in devotional service. And Krishna will fulfill those things. So, is one of the 9 processes of devotional service that we have to regularly do. So, all of them are part of our maturation in Krishna consciousness. So the 9 process, hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, remembering Krishna, Archanam, worshipping, that eventually you get the Brahminica initiation, first initiation, Brahminica initiation, and then you learn the process of deity worship. Archanam, Pada Sevanam, worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. The greatest example of worshiping the lotus feet of the Lord is Lakshmi Devi, who is constantly massaging the feet. In deity worship, is part of the process of deity worship that you massage the feet of the Lord, daily, like that. And Vandanan, praying, Sakyam, becoming a friend, Dasyam, becoming a servant, and Atma Nivedana, giving your full self to the Lord. So all these 9 processes we engage. And the system that Prabhupada has given us, the regular sadhana that Prabhupada has given us, if we follow the full morning program or we follow in Prabhupada's, program, within the morning program you have all the 9 processes included. And so this is the type of things that we cultivate. So for prayer, it's important that you learn and you follow, you start to become accustomed and informed about how devotees pray to the Lord, and then with your own voice, eventually you can pray to the Lord in that way. There is when we learn the deity worship, we also learn to offer prayers. And especially the last prayer that we have after doing deity worship is asking the Lord to kindly forgive us if we made a mistake. You know, and it's a beautiful prayer. At what is it? Anga hinan kriya hinan bidi binan. Anga hinan kriya hinan bidi hinan. Now I do it every time. Anga hinan kriya hinan bidi hinan. I can say it right now. But it's basically in the course of myself doing all this worship. If I made a mistake, you kindly forgive me. And let me absorb myself in hearing your glories by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, like that. Angahinam kriyahinam vidihinam chayat bhavet. Angahinam kriyahinam vidihinam chayat bhavet. Astu tas sarvang achitram Krishna Karshna prasadataha. So Krishna Smaranam Karomi then ends with that. Let me always remember in you by chanting your Mahamantra. So, it's very important. So you can do that every time you come in front of the deities. And it's true, when you're chanting, it's better that, that's hearing and chanting. You focus on listening and not necessarily on praying, but on listening. You can pray and then chant like that. Okay? I think I'm going to stop here because it's past the time. But thank you so much. Garantarashiman Bhagavatam Ki Jai.